Good day, everyone. A very warm welcome to this information session on PhD program at Nanyang Business School. I am Sadat Reza. I'm the Assistant Dean for Research and Associate Professor in Marketing. And thank you for joining us from across the globe. We have participants from 5 continents, from the Americas, from Europe, Africa, and Asia, of course. So we're very glad to have you here. So today, what we have here is an information session, and so I'll introduce you our PhD program for a few minutes, and then we are privileged to have a distinguished lineup for faculty members from various disciplines within NBS, and they'll share their insights with you about the program, about each discipline and research in each discipline. We are also joined by Dr. Yi Guang, who is our esteemed alumni, and we'll also hear from Jesse Chung, our current PhD student here. So I'll probably take about 10 minutes or so, and then we'll hear from our faculty members from other disciplines. What do we do here at in our PhD program at NBS? So we, of course, the whole idea is to cultivate high caliber scholars in business disciplines, and we enroll around 15 candidates each year, a select group of candidates, and the focus is basically to train our candidates in producing high quality research and eventually becoming educator and researcher in business schools around the world. Our alumni, of course, we have alumni both in different universities, and even many of our alumni joining research positions in the industry or government organizations. What we do here is we try to cultivate a culture of producing high quality research. So why should you choose NBS? NBS is one of the leading premier business schools in Asia, and we are known for our industry-oriented interdisciplinary research. And so we have strong connections with the industry, and as you know, Singapore is a regional hub for many of the global firms. So location-wise, we have certain advantages here. We have our PhD students have excellent placement records. Many of them went to business schools, top business schools in East Asia, even in Europe, Australia, India. So we do have a decent placement record. We do have excellent, extensive infrastructure for academic research. We have access to most top-tier databases, most advanced software, and hardware. So our the number of faculty members here is about 270 plus. We have our undergraduate program. We have about 4,000 students and about 500 postgraduate participants. So currently our PhD student size is small because we want to be selective, and currently we have about 75 students across all years of PhD program. Our program's accredited by both ICWIS and AACSB. So this is our new home. We moved in last year. This is a state-of-the-art building, Asia's largest prefabricated wooden structure. So it symbolizes NTU's commitment to sustainability. But this facility provides resources to help your academic journey. We have not only cutting edge technology, but spaces for collaborative and interdisciplinary work. NBS also hosts 13 research centers, and these research centers, of course, are designed primarily to bring us closer to the industry. As business school, we believe it is important to be connected with the industry, and whether it's a Center for Business Sustainability or Nanyang Center for Marketing and Technology, these research centers, what they do, they facilitate collaboration with leading academicians, with industry experts. So this brings us closer to the industry, and that allows us to do contemporary research work. So I'll talk about let me talk about the PhD program a little bit. And so this is a program, we have to say that, until bachelor's degree, this is a little bit of break. It has a different objective and therefore different structure. So in the first year, once the student is admitted of it, as the student goes through coursework for about a year, a little over a year. There's also, but then they delve into doing some research in the very first year. So after the first year of coursework, or 1.5 years of coursework, there is what we have as a qualifying exam, and that basically tests the candidate's breadth and width of knowledge in the discipline, in the chosen discipline. And then the candidate basically moves on to the research phase, and you get to choose your supervisor. So by that time, one becomes familiar with the researchers here, and then chooses a supervising team and gets into research work. So that takes about 3 years or so. So total about 4 to 5 years of journey, and and only about first year of coursework. So this is not like the standard work-based program that most of us do prior to PhD studies. And this structure is like a standard North American PhD program structure. So now this 3 years of research time, so that's when the candidate will be involved in multiple research projects. And that's the time when the candidate gets connected to the broader academia. And, we generally have visitors time to time from our leading institutions from all over the world, from Berkeley, MIT, to University of Melbourne, from Tsinghua so we have people visiting us regularly. So that's when the candidates get to interact with the leading minds and gets into research, not only with the NBS faculty members and researchers, but also outside NBS. And this is the time you also get to participate in different conferences. So this is the research training phase. This is quite rigorous. This is a journey. This is a commitment. So once you have gone through this, and then typically what happens in about 2 years, the candidates produce about 2 to 4 research papers, and then develops a thesis. And this thesis is then there's some internal within NBS thesis internal defense, and then the thesis is also once that phase is passed, then the thesis is also sent to external examiners, and finally there's an oral defense. And once that hurdle is crossed, and then the PhD degree is conferred. So typically these days, it takes about 5 years to complete this whole process. And at the end of it, one becomes well-trained business researcher and educator. So during this last 3 years, you also get to do some teaching, so that allows you to get some first-hand experience on teaching. So this is how the program is structured. As I said, this is it's a standard North American structure. In Europe, the structure may be slightly different, but there is the coursework part may not be there in many schools. But this is how NBS PhD program is structured. So we do have the several disciplines that you can choose from. Of course, it has to align with your undergraduate training a little bit. Not always, it doesn't have to be, but it has to align with your interest. So we have accounting division, we have banking and finance division. There is looking at both asset pricing and corporate finance. We have information system and operations management, how to optimize different operation sides of firm operations. We have marketing, where we have researchers doing consumer behavior analysis, or also both or what we would call quantitative marketing and modeling. We have leadership, management, and organization division. And also we have strategy, international business, and entrepreneurship division. So these are the 7 divisions that you can choose from. Now the question is, what's our criteria for admission? Of course, we would like the candidate to have a good bachelor's or master's degree. Bachelor's degree is sufficient if you're quite well trained and very academically inclined. We do have a GMAT GRE requirement, and if your undergraduate was not in the medium of instruction at the undergraduate level was not in English, then we do need TOEFL or IELTS. But these are the more administrative requirements. But what we look for are candidates who are passionate about research and teaching. So this is I have to say that, you know, being an educator and a researcher, this is a lifestyle choice, and you can choose to be in the corporate sector or the public service sector, or the academia. So this is a choice of lifestyle, and you have to ask yourself whether you want to commit yourself here. It offers a great, rewarding career, but you have to ask yourself whether you're passionate about research and teaching. And something that may not be well understood by applicants is that you have to be an extremely motivated, self-started person. So primarily research is up to you. Nobody dictates what research you want to do. It is entirely up to you. So therefore, you have to be a self-starter, and you have to find your own research questions. You have to find, and then you have to find people you want to work with. So this is a journey where you have a lot of autonomy, and autonomy means that you need to be you will be on your own most of the time. So this is, again, as I said, it's a lifestyle choice, and if you're cut out for that, then this is a great career, a stepping stone towards a great career. So these are our requirements. What do we provide in terms of support? We have, I believe we have a very generous scholarship program. There are different types of scholarship. The most prestigious one is NPGS, the President's Graduate School, Nanyang President's Graduate Scholarship. And then we have the Provost Graduate Award and the NTU Research Scholarship, or RSS. So the application period varies a little bit. So and also, of course, the stipend amount varies a little bit. Minimum, I think the RSS gives you about $2,500, or around $2,500, $3,000 stipend per month. That excludes the tuition fee, so tuition fee is also waived, and then, of course, we do provide, support for conference participation, to get your any hardware, or if you need some additional software. So there are other supports that are available. So this is we know that most of us who are here, most of us have gone through the same journey at the PhD level. So we went through that 4 or 5 years of this training program, and of course financial support is important. We do understand that. So I think what we have here is allows a quite a decent lifestyle here in Singapore. So so that's what we offer. Now, how did our alumni how did they fare in the after graduation? So we have placements in many esteemed universities in China and Hong Kong, in Australia. We have placements in our students have been placed in Europe, even in the US, even in Singapore. So we are quite proud of our placement record, and we do hope that our placement record will continue to improve as people like you apply and join our program. So so what happens now is that I'll pass this to Prof Y, but before to say how about research and accounting division. But before that, I just want to make sure that we are reachable. Any kind of question that you have, you feel free to ask me directly, or you're most welcome to reach out to our PhD program office. Please do take note of our of the email address here, and I strongly recommend you to visit our website, go through the profiles of our faculty members, to see what type of research that we have, what people are doing here, and see what type of research that interests you and who would you like to work with. So not that you have to decide everything before applying, but it's always a good idea to know who the people are here. So once again, please do reach out to me if you have any question. And so now we'll hear from our faculty members, and then Dr. Yi, and then Jesse, and then we'll have a Q&A session. So we'll come back to that session later. So now may I request Prof Y?
I'm Professor Zhang from Accounting Division, and I'm here to talk about our PhD program in accounting. And I'm going to share my slides. Okay, all right. So first of all, I would like to talk about what we do in accounting research. Basically, we study how accounting information is used by capital market participants, either through data analysis or control experiments. For example, we study whether investors make mistakes in understanding accounting information, and how judgments by capital market participants are influenced by the way information is presented. And we have been fairly highly ranked. According to the latest ranking, according to the publication records of PhD graduates in the most recent 6 years, we're #1 in Asia and number 48 in the world. In comparison, and US is only number 87 in the world, Hong Kong USD number 66, Hong Kong U is 123, and we have been ranked within top 50 of the world for the last consecutive 6 years. So it's not just one-time thing. We have been consistently ranked high according to the ranking. Now, we have enjoyed very good placement records. Our recent graduates have taken jobs at Australian National University, Chinese University of Hong Kong, Monash University, Peking University, University of Hong Kong, University of Massachusetts, Amherst, University of Queensland, University of Sydney, and University of South Carolina. And they're well sought after, and some of them have become stars in our academic profession. And I'm going to give you some examples. Here is one of our graduates, Liandong Zhang, and he's now the Lee Kong Chen Professor of Accounting, Associate Dean of Research at our sister school, Singapore Management University. Here's another outstanding alumni, Elaine Wang. She's now James P. Cornell Endowed Professor at University of Massachusetts Amherst. And here's another one, Wei Fanyin. She graduated in 2011, and within 8 years, she was promoted to full professor at Shanghai University of Finance Economics. So that's all I got to say. I do encourage you to consider our accounting program because we have very good faculty members. We are ranked high internationally, and we have very good placement records of our PhD students. I think that's all I got to say. And next, I'm going to pass on to Professor Thomas Raktosh from Leadership Management Organization.
Thank you, Prof. Chung. Welcome to everyone attending this session. I'm Prof. Thomas from the Leadership Management and Organization Division, and I'm the PhD coordinator for our division as well. I would also like to talk a little bit about the kinds of research that we do in our division to give you a little bit of a sense what you might be expecting in our program. So in this slide, I've just kind of collected the sort of key research keywords that most of our faculty have been publishing in. But very broadly, if you think about the kinds of research streams that we do in our division, is kind of the three big things. We study a lot of leadership in organization, how to make leaders more effective, how to help leaders lead effective organizations. We also study organizational behavior, so that's more on the employee side. What kind of job conditions are useful for employees, how to increase their well-being, how to increase their performance, how to motivate them, and so on. And lastly, we help organizations with the human capital or talent development, so that's both a selection and also training programs for employees. Most of our faculties will probably consider themselves to be scientist practitioners, which means that we work very, very closely together with organizations to solve real-world problems that they are facing in any of those three areas. And then lastly, I would add that for the last couple of years, with the increasing use of artificial intelligence in organizations, this is also becoming a more important topic for a lot of our PhD students to study the impact of AI on many of these leadership, organizational behavior, and human capital and talent development. One thing that's very unique about our program is kind of that we are sitting at the crossroad of East and West. So a lot of our research also has a little bit of a cultural angle where we're trying to understand how some of these organizational behavior or leadership types do vary across cultures and how we can help organizations bridge cultural gaps in their understanding. Many of our faculty are either current or former editors-in-chief, or they sit on editorial boards on many of the important management journals in the field. So they are very well connected also in the broader research academia on management. Our faculty also publish quite extensively in very, very different journals and in books as well. And then lastly, I would like to say that we welcome passionate students who are liking to make an impact in the world. Through means of studying organizational behavior or leadership or management in more general. Our faculty are very much enjoying mentoring of students. We think nothing is as gratifying as seeing our former students become our current peers. And then later on, we will also have one of our just recently graduated students present some of her journey in the program. With that said, if you do have any specific questions about our program, please feel free to reach out to me at any point in time. I'm sharing my email with you here, so you can always drop me an email and I can ask or answer more specific questions about the program as well. And with that, I will pass on to Prof. Kim Soo.
Sorry, just unmuted myself. So hello, my name is Sue Kim. I'm the PhD coordinator for the marketing division. I'm here to tell you a little bit about what we do in marketing and what you would expect from a program when you join. So the academic discipline of marketing is largely two tracks. Professor Reza alluded to this briefly, one being consumer behavior and the other being quantitative modeling. In consumer behavior, we use psychological and sociological methods to study consumer decision-making, largely utilizing behavior experiments, surveys, and qualitative methods. Whereas quantitative modeling is more mathematical, statistical, and econometrical approach to analyzing market data and predicting consumer behavior. They operate with larger scale data analyses, simulations, and predictive modeling. The division as a whole is a very productive and young division. Everyone is very much very much involved in research. Our ranking is about 16 at QS. If we take consideration the FT50 journals, then the marketing division at NBS is ranked at 37. We have faculty members who are on editorial boards of top marketing journals, who are associate editors and editors of top-tier journals in marketing. In terms of students, we currently have 7 students. We try our best to kind of split the composition of students to be balanced between consumer behavior and quantitative modeling students. And each year, the intake of whether we intake CB or Quant is kind of determined by the current faculty bandwidth. We have placed students in top-tier institutions all across the world, ranging from Australia, Hong Kong, the European countries such as the UK and Netherlands, and top-tier schools in China as well. Some students decide to do a postdoc after graduation and then move on to starting faculty life thereafter. What you should expect when you join is that students, we're starting a few different things which started this year. We have started to assign students to a supervisor or supervisors immediately upon joining for initial guidance, but you are not bound to work with these supervisors across the years of your PhD program. This is just someone you can talk to and someone you can start discussing research with as you make yourself familiar with the program. And if you want to work with other people or more people, you're completely free to do so in the upcoming years of your program. Professor Reza talked about this, so I'm just going to briefly go over. Once your first year coursework is done, you will be engaging in the written exam type questions, which we call the pre-QE. Then about a semester later, which is about a year and a half upon initiation of your program, you will be required to submit a research paper and present your current research project. Typical duration of the program in marketing is about 5 years. Funding is guaranteed for 4 years, and the years after that, the faculty typically source your funding. We do our best to offer rigorous training with seminars that help you, build theory and modeling tools, how to build topics ranging from, how to build experiments to test your hypotheses and academic presentation and writing. You can also take classes from other schools in Singapore, such as NUS and SMU. And we try our best to give as many opportunities for students to present their academic research as much as possible. When students face the job market, we have formalized job market practice sessions to prepare them as best for them to perform the best way possible. So we have the division helps you prepare for the market in a more structured manner. And each year, students submit their Outlook report to me, the PhD coordinator, which talks about their self-reported progress, plans, and concerns. So if you have any concerns, I'm the liaison between the faculty and the students to address those. So that's it for now. And if you have any questions, of course, please feel free to email me at this email address. And with that, I will pass the torch to Professor Vivek Chaudhary from OM. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Let me share my screen. Yeah. So, hello, everyone. I am Vivek. I am an assistant professor in the OM division. This is within the ITOM division, which has both information systems and operations management. And I'm the OM PhD program coordinator. So just to give you a sense of what we do in operations management. So we do research in very exciting and impactful areas, studying human AI collaborations, sustainability, healthcare efficiency and costs, impact of human behavior on productivity. That is also my area of work, and platform design, performance, as well as supply chain optimization, inventory, and logistics problem. These are some phases of OM research, and we do conduct research in many more areas. In broadly, if you look at operations management, we look at two types of methods. The one is analytical, which is mathematical models to examine research problems. And the second area of methods is empirical, which is data-driven and primarily uses econometrics method to examine a research question. This can also include conducting field experiments, so on. We also encourage to have both these methods together as well, and students can pick and choose which methods they want to apply to answer a specific research question and for their dissertation. And we also encourage students to collaborate with companies for research projects. And as a faculty, we help you build that bridge with the companies. So we provide the appropriate tools for your research methods chosen. For example, there are some common courses which are going to build the core of your, or the foundation of your methodological tool set. And we have elective courses designed for if you choose a particular methodology track. For example, if you're going for analytical, it'll provide you all the tools to examine a research question using analytical method. And if you're looking for empirical toolkit for your research, then we'll provide you all the tools required for empirical research where you work on data-driven projects. Students can choose whichever track they want to work on, and we encourage students to explore and choose the best that matches their needs as well as the research aspiration. So we have outstanding faculty to support your research. For example, we have faculty from inventory and logistics management, humanitarian healthcare operations, revenue management platform. So there are many fields or many areas of research that is there within operations management. It's a very multidisciplinary, very broad field, and you are encouraged to meet them during your first year when you're exploring the areas that is of your interest, and which and you can also identify in this due course your supervisors to work with. We have, as you can see, very young faculty join us from prestigious institutes like INSEAD as well as Georgia Tech. And what we want you to explore this and their profile. We'll highly encourage you to look at their profile and see if your interest matches with theirs. So at last, I want you to welcome you all to join us as the next generation of OM scholars, and you can help us think critically about impactful problems, solve complex problems, and expand the knowledge of the field as well and push the boundaries. So if you have any questions, please reach out to me for specific questions or our program office. And I wish you all the best if you're applying to our department. So next, that's all from my end. I'm going to pass on the baton to Professor Ben from Information Systems. So Ben, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Vivek. So hello, folks. Let me share my slides. Okay, you should be able to see my slides now. Hello, everybody. I'm Ben. I am the IS PhD coordinator. I am also working in the same department or division as Vivek, that is the Information Technology and Operations Management. So I'm going to quickly tell you a little bit more about our IS department as well as our PhD program. Our department is growing because of the general demand, especially in the region in terms of analytics and AI and machine learning, of course. So on the slide now, basically, you see this group of people at the three ranks, both full professor, associate professor, as well as assistant professors. In fact, we have more assistant professors down there. So you actually have a pretty well-staffed department to support you and to help you in terms of your learning and, of course, to guide you for your research and career development. This department also have very high visibility at the top journals, which is something that's quite vital to you, especially if you are considering mainly as an outcome of a PhD training to basically work in a research university. So our top two journals, there's the MIS Quarterly and Information System. We both have faculties members holding the senior editor position, as well as associate editor and the editorial review board members positions. We, of course, also have editors in our department in other major journals in the information system space. So basically, our department can provide you very well-considered, experienced suggestions and advices when you try to navigate your publication journey. Our students are doing increasingly well. So on the slide now, basically, I've highlighted some of the major achievements that they obtained in the recent year or the year now, basically. So they have won multiple best paper in various conferences. In particular, I point out the regional conference here, that is PAXIS in the Pacific region. Two of our recent PhD students that they are now in their year 3 actually won this Young Scholar Award back to back continuously for 2 years. So this, I think, is a concrete evidence to suggest that they are under very, very strong guidance and they are doing increasingly well. So exactly what are our interests, and to a large extent, how do we sort of like structure our research interests within the department? So by and large, we can categorize ourselves in terms of research interests into these two mainstream. There's digital strategy in business enterprises, as well as sharing economy. Under each of these two main tracks, you can basically find a lot of very current and hot topics, such as sustainability, green IS, platforms, and digital transformations. So all this highly sought after, not just by the journal publication outlets, but at the same time also for teaching as well as practice. So we are looking for you who are extremely bright, motivated, and committed individuals who are willing to learn and explore the rapidly changing technological landscape. Of course, you must all really love technology because it's a very fast-paced environment. Work and research experience prior can be helpful, but not entirely, compulsory. And if you do have prior training in econometrics, statistics, and programming, there's computer programming, that will be a plus. Some of the research topics that I suppose some of you will be interested are essentially very well aligned with our call for papers in our major journals. As you can see, basically it's about analytical creativity that's closely related to AI, how AI transforms basically digital platforms, as well as green and sustainability issue, in particular, the role of technology and information systems in helping our world. So these are some of the topics that you can consider if you shall be applying to us, and basically you will be preparing for your research proposal. So this is my final slide where you can find my email as well as my LinkedIn. Feel free to connect with me or write to me directly if you want to have further discussions of information. And that's all that I have for you right now. And next up will be Marilyn.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ben. Let me share my screen. All right. So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this session. I'm Marilyn Uwe. I'm the head of the SIE division. I'm doing this presentation on behalf of our PhD coordinator, Associate Professor Laisi Tsui Och. So Laisi is currently in class, so she can't join us for this afternoon session. If you have additional queries after this session, please feel free to email Lacey at this address. So I did a word cloud of the topics and the research streams that our faculty are pursuing. And this is something that represents the current research interests of our faculty in the Strategy, International Business, and Entrepreneurship group. So predominantly topics on strategic management, innovation, and international business. We do have publications in highly ranked journals in our field like AMJ, Org Science, SMJ, JP, JIBS, SEJ, JMS, and the like. So I would encourage you to look up our papers to see whether these particular topics are the ones that also resonate with you. And please feel free to email us directly, email the faculty directly. But I want to also emphasize that for PhD applications, you're not required to have a committed faculty to supervise you at the onset. So this is something that is determined after you're accepted to the program. So we get a lot of queries asking us to commit our time, but actually this is not a prerequisite for acceptance in our PhD program. So this is just to give you a taste and to give you an idea of what types of research topics our faculty are pursuing. And in terms of our graduates, so we do have graduates placed in top-ranked universities in the region. And so that's why we encourage you to consider that, you know, PhD programs are actually a means to an end, and the end is really academic placement. So primarily, we are interested to train people who are keen to pursue academic degrees. And so essentially, the people that we're looking at would be motivated self-starters who are passionate about research and also teaching. We do want people from different disciplines, so we are not strict in terms of where you did your undergraduate, which discipline you come from. It can be from economics, psychology, sociology, and the like. As long as you're keen, you're interested in doing research on topics that are related to strategy, IB, and entrepreneurship and innovation. And essentially, we are preparing our students to pursue academic careers, both locally and internationally. So this is all I have. I will now introduce the next speaker. So our next speaker is Dr. Huang Yi. Huang Yi is now an assistant professor at Tsinghua University. She's one of our very successful graduates, and we're very, very happy, very proud of her scholastic achievements. Huang Yi, please.
So thank you, Prof. Marilyn, for the introduction. My name is Yi. I just graduated from NBS this year from the Leadership Management and Organization Division. And currently, I am an assistant professor in Tsinghua University, located in Beijing, China. And today, I'm going to share with you my PhD journey in NBS and some reasons why NBS might be an ideal choice for you to pursue a PhD degree. So the most important aspect is the academic support. And first, we have a very friendly environment with a relatively flat hierarchies between professors and students, and allowing for open communication. Faculty members offer professional and supportive mentorship, focusing on personal growth in your individual research interest. For example, thanks to my supportive mentors, I was able to publish 2 articles in top journals, one in the Journal of Applied Psychology and then the other in Journal of Business Venturing, by the time I was on the job market in my 5th year. I am incredibly grateful for the attention and the intellectual investment they had made in me. And NBS also encouraged students to attend and present their work at international conferences, providing generous financial support. And this photo shows a division gathering at a conference in Boston during my PhD studies. Additionally, we have a PhD exchange program where you can take credit courses from other universities in Singapore, like SMU and NUS, and which helps broaden your research perspectives. And furthermore, most divisions offer PhD students opportunities to teach, usually an undergraduate course, and which is great for demonstrating independent teaching skills when you're on the job market. And regarding on-campus support, I would say the stipend is more than enough to live comfortably in Singapore. And also, we have a small but very friendly PhD cohort, and I miss my peers a lot after graduation. And this is a photo of me and then the other students from the same division. Regarding supervisors, faculty members here usually oversees just 1 or 2 students, ensuring personalized and detailed guidance. In NBS, there are also excellent facilities like the PhD office, lounge, and student halls, and all the administrative staff in the NBS PhD program are very friendly and helpful. As for the job market support, NTU and NBS has a strong global reputation, which helps when the job searching because the hiring committees can recognize the high level of research training provided here. We also have alumni working around the world, such as China, Australia, and Europe. I personally receive great assistance from various sources. For example, professors here in the program wrote reference letters and helped with my job talk rehearsals, while senior students who have already graduated share their personal experiences with me and even recommended me for internal opportunities at their universities. I am sincerely grateful for my time at NBS and hope the above information can help you consider to join us. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. And now, let's welcome Jessie Chung, a current PhD candidate from the Strategy, International Businesses, and Entrepreneurship Division.
Thank you, Huang Yi. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jessie, and I am a final year PhD student at NBS, the Department of Strategy, International Business, and Entrepreneurship. First thing I want to share is that everyone has their own journey, and key is to recognize your passion, strength, and inspiration. We all have different starting points. My starting point is actually quite different from the majority of previous PhD students at NBS. So before shifting to academia, I actually worked in the industry sectors for quite some time, from management consulting to banking and corporate finance in Asia. I'm also a mother of 2 kids that you can see in the picture. Then because of family relocations back to Singapore, it gave me the opportunity to think of my next career. I went through the discovery process, including meeting scholars and attending information sessions like this one. Meanwhile, I recognized my intellectual curiosity and growing interest in academic research. I'm really thankful for NBS accepting me despite my less common profile. Second thing that I want to share is that having a good mentor or supervisor is crucial in my PhD journey. For me, I'm truly grateful to have Professor Marilyn as my supervisor, who just presented for the Department of SIE. She is very, very supportive and understanding with my background and family demand. She gives me timely feedback in my research and regularly meets me to discuss my questions and gave me valuable advice and lend her scholarly network. Beside the mentor and supervisor, forming a core group within the department or same cohort is very important so that we're not feeling alone in our PhD journey. Then it takes proactive efforts to build network across departments and further on through conferences. The network is and will continue to be important on the potential research collaborations within the community. The last thing I want to share is that, during the last few years of my PhD, I always go through the process of reflecting existing situation, soliciting advice, revising goals, and reprioritizing. In particular, I seek advice from Professor Simba Chang, who is the Associate Dean of NBS, Professor in Finance, and Director of Center of Sustainable Finance Innovation. I seek his advice because my thesis topic actually relates to finance, sustainability, and entrepreneurship. He is supportive to my research idea and become my co-sponsor of my research project together with Professor Marilyn. Meanwhile, after I obtained further advice from various scholars, I reflected and revised my plan upon PhD graduation. Instead of immediately applying for a tenure track position, I prefer a postdoc position to build my research pipeline. And Professor Simba has offered me a position, and now I'm a researcher in the Center of Sustainable Finance Innovation while finishing up my PhD. In summary, despite my unusual profile, I've been fully enjoying my PhD journey, getting direct advice from well-respected and friendly scholars in different disciplines, gaining solid research experience, and having the advantages of interacting with practitioners through my research process. So I wish you all the best on your upcoming journey, and feel free to connect me in LinkedIn or send me an email. So now I pass on the next one to Professor Huang. Thank you.
Hello, good day to everyone. I'm Karen from Research and PhD Office. We are going to open the floor for question and answer for now. And when Prof Wang joins us, we'll give the floor to him. Prof Sadat?
Yes, we're happy to take questions. Okay. So, so I see quite a few questions here. So first question is, you mentioned multiple times how many students are enrolled in your PhD, in your programs. How does this compare to the amount of applicants, especially in accounting division? How many students who are joining a cohort graduate within 3 to 5 years? Okay.
Maybe I can answer the question because it's mentioned it's accounting division. And I have been handling the accounting application for many years, more than 10 years. So I think I can say a few words. We get many applications. I think just on top of my head, I would say about between 50 and 60 applications per year. And among the 50, 60 applications, typically we choose 2. So it is a very selective process. Now, the next question is how many students can graduate within 3 to 5 years? I would say I'm not sure about other division. For our accounting division, typically students will graduate at the end of the 5th year. So I hope that information is helpful. Thank you.
Okay, so the next question is, I already have a teaching position part-time and about 30 years working experience. I have to hold PhD from business school to get tenure. From your explanation, this profile may not be fitting your prospective PhD candidates. Yes, actually, I must admit that this would be a profile that is not quite standard. Typically, what our PhD candidates their career begins after their PhD completion, typically as an assistant professor or senior lecturer, depending on the country. Nonetheless, I think we do not. If you feel like applying, or maybe perhaps we can have a discussion offline. What could be a good solution? Oh. Okay, next question. What is the ideal work-life balance for a PhD scholar? Okay, so I think that would vary. Perhaps Prof. Ben Choi, would you like to take that question?
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, well, it is indeed very individual because, as we have mentioned earlier by various speaker, it is a program or it's an experience that requires a lot of your commitment, a lot of your dedication. But at the same time, having good life balance indeed can be very helpful at times. So, in my experience and in my opinion, basically it's about how you manage your time. So basically, my experience is that I will basically focus on my work for most of the day, and towards the end of the day, basically I will go for a jog, and that basically becomes my like daily routine. So at least I got some outdoor time, and I go to exercise. Sometimes I can meet up with friends for my jog as well. So basically, different people have different ways to try to manage it. And I think the key consideration here is about time management, basically, right? Yeah, so that is my answer to that.
Thank you for answering the first few questions. We're going to go back to the Q&A in a short while. We invite Prof Wang from Banking and Finance to share about the PhD program. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, thanks. Sorry for joining so late. So I'm part of the Banking and Finance division here. We actually have two streams, actuarial science, and then I guess what you call traditional finance. I think one thing I would urge you to think about is, as you're considering applying to us, think about whether you're more interested in actuarial science or traditional finance. So actuarial science is more about insurance risk management, and finance is kind of the rest. The reason is that we have, even though we're one division, we have two sets of faculty. And then if you apply to the actuarial track, your applications will actually get reviewed by our actual science faculty. Versus if you apply to traditional finance, the traditional finance people will review your applications. And then once you're admitted as a student, let's say as more of an actual science student, it's very difficult for you to, after a year, to switch and vice versa. So this is something you can think about as you consider our program. Our program is geared towards careers in academia. So, I mean, it happens sometimes that some of our PhD graduates join the industry, but that's not our primary desired outcome. Right? So we will train you to be active in academia. And these are some of the schools we've placed at: Europe, Australia, US, China, like Asia. And but our hope is that to also eventually place students in the US. What do we offer? I think we have a pretty good set of courses, actually, which is not a given. Like, not all schools have a solid set of PhD classes, and we do. We subscribe to all major research-oriented databases, and I would say in general, our faculty is very easygoing, helpful, and friendly. So no big egos, anything like that here. So we're here to support you. What do we look for? I mean, we will train you in finance. What we will not train you to do is how to code. Right? This is something you need to pick up yourself, which fortunately is easy to do. Right? There's various sources on the internet, there's books. If you have strong coding experience already, then that's a plus, right? Because then once you join us, you can actually focus on the finance classes. You don't have to, on top of that, learn how to code. So given that, we actually prefer candidates who already have a strong coding background. And then you just need to be able to communicate well, because once you have made some hopefully interesting discoveries, you need to share it. And that requires communication skills. That's it. I'm done.
Thank you, Prof. Wang, Prof. Sadat. The questions are shared in the chat menu. If you can see your chat button over there.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we have another question for any of the panel. Hello, if I have a publication in a Chinese core journal now, will such publication experience be an extra bonus at the application stage? Or does it have to be an international journal publication to be considered? In general, we do not have a publication as a requirement. It is publication, of course, if you have, that indicates that you're already engaged in research, so which is always a good sign. So it is not necessary to have an international journal publication for admission. What is more important is to express your research objective. If you have a research idea, I think those will also be valued. So it is not necessary. Then next question. For OM, I'm interested in supply chain management. Will I be able to do this if I'm selected for admission? What are the other research directions in OM? So Vivek or Ben, who would like to take this question?
Yeah, so basically, I think you can do it in terms of looking into supply chain management. It is one of the big topic, to my understanding, within the OM department in our division. There are certainly other research directions in operation management as well, as what Vivek has mentioned earlier. And increasingly, I believe they are moving towards the more empirical side, involving technology as well. So oftentimes it's about how to use, for example, AI to improve the operation processes, to basically also look at some sustainability processes as well. So that's one of the emerging topics. Yeah, so that would be my response to that question.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. Ben, I'll just say a few words regarding this. So thanks, Ben, for taking that question. So I was typing the answer as we speak. So yes, you're welcome to work on supply chain management problems. Other directions are, as I mentioned in my previous slides, behavioral operations, revenue management, sustainability, healthcare, human AI interactions. There are many areas which you can explore. And in the first year, you are encouraged to explore all of these, which matches your expertise as well as your matches your research aspirations. And we have many faculty working particularly in supply chain management. So you'll definitely be able to figure this out, like which questions are interesting to you. And you can have people to answer this question as well as you progress during the PhD program. But you are more than welcome to do so. Thank you.
Okay, so there's a question for marketing. Is there an ideal length for the research proposal for consumer behavior PhD? If yes, what should it be? Sue, would you like to take the question, please?
Sure, I can answer this question. So if this question is asking about the summer research paper that students need to submit, then I mean, there is no restriction on how long or short it should be. But from experience, it generally happens to be about 20 to 30 pages. If the question is asking how long a publication is for the area of consumer behavior in top journals, it tends to be about 50 to 60 pages long. Hope that answers the question.
Okay, so we have a question for banking and finance. How competitive is the finance track? What is the application admission ratio? Prof. Wang, would you like to take that?
Yeah, I actually don't know. Maybe Karen knows. But it is fairly competitive. I think finance is one of the more popular. Yeah, it's not just at NTU in general. Yeah, but then the job market is also very good. So once you're in, your prospects are quite good. I saw another, so maybe Karen has more information on this. I don't have the exact numbers. But there was another question of whether we do theory or empirical work. And that one I have a clear answer. So our emphasis on empirical research. If you know you want to do theory, to be honest, I don't think you should apply to NTU because you're not going to have that many people to talk to. You should consider other schools.
Thank you. For next questions for LMO. Can we collaborate with the faculty from Department of Life Sciences, Biology for research in topics at the intersection of consumer psychology, cognitive and neuroscience? And so the faculty as co-mentors. So perhaps Prof. Marilyn would like to take that question.
Yeah, I think I'll answer that for LMO. Yeah, definitely this is possible. We do encourage collaborations. I think generally at the NTU, there's options to work interdisciplinary. When you're thinking specifically about cognitive and neuroscience, we do actually have a very distinguished neuroscientist as part of our faculty at LMO, which is Prof. Georgios Christopoulos. So you may also have in-house mentoring for this particular stream of research without needing to go across NTU as well.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Thomas. So there's a question for IS. So Prof. Ben, once again, is there any scope for conducting PhD in digital healthcare?
Right. So yeah, indeed, healthcare is a big space and drawing a lot of interest. So generally, I would try to put that into two aspects that is relevant to our department. Generally, I think we do research in terms of the consumerization side of it, about digital healthcare, as well as more like clinical side of it. So the clinical side, basically, we have quite a lot of collaborations, also have very big grants, working with local hospitals. So some of the projects basically involves our observations and data collection in the ICU, for example, dealing with the actual conditions of patients in those critical care unit. And then generally the digital aspect of it is about how to apply AI and machine learning to augment those doctors' decision making in those critical moments. The other bubble, which I mentioned before earlier, is about the consumerization side. So I'm more involved in that bubble. It's basically about how to use some wearable technologies or more affordable, generally consumer-grade technologies to basically encourage healthy lifestyle. So some examples, for example, like indeed like wearables, like mobile fitness app, of changing the active lifestyle behavior, as well as changing people's dietary behavior as well. So I hope that answered the question.
Thank you. So we have a question for actually both LMO and SIE divisions. So the question is, if my research interest is in organization design, could this be considered under as a PhD in LMO or in SIE? So Prof. Thomas, Prof. Marilyn.
All right, so it depends. So org design is broad, so we will look into the specific questions that you would like to pursue. It will be good for you to get into the faculty research interests also, so that you will see more or less who in the department works on organizational design or related questions on that. You can actually apply to both, and we can assess where you're better suited. So it is not unusual for example, your committee to comprise folks from both SIE and LMO, but you will have to identify as a home division, right, for your PhD. But we do share our resources. Sometimes also SIE and ITOM. If you're looking at innovation, so we had a student before looking at innovation. So I was asked to be part of the students' committee because of the enterprise and innovation angle that the student is interested to look at. So we do have that kind of sharing of mentorship in the PhD program.
Yeah, I would very much echo what Marilyn is saying from LMO points of a division perspective. In the application, we would also look at whether or not your specific elaboration of your topic interest fits more with LMO or maybe more with SIE. Then depending on which one this is, we would also collaborate with each other, or we may suggest that even though you submit initially to LMO, if actually your interest is much more macro strategic in orientation, then maybe it would be better suited as an SIE application. So yeah, we do talk to each other as well. So it's not a problem. And as Marilyn said, we also do collaborate in the supervision of students. So if at some point you have this notion that I want to study it from both a more micro perspective and a little bit more macro perspective, we can also collaborate in the supervision across the divisions.
Okay. Thank you. There's a question for Prof. Y. Will you be able to share some information on emerging trends in accounting?
Thank you, Sadat. I'm happy to answer the question. Yeah, I think there are mainly two emerging trends in accounting research. The first is we are doing more related to ESG. As everybody knows, climate change is a very important issue. And as accounting researchers, we study what kind of disclosure will help investors understand the corporation's efforts in ESG, and whether some of the regulations will be helpful. The regulations on disclosures will be helpful in terms of guiding companies into better ESG performance. So this is one big emerging trend. The other trend is related to technology. For example, we have a top journal called Journal Accounting Research, and next year's Journal Accounting Research Conference will about basically ChatGPT and AI, how those advanced technologies can be helpful for investors to understand accounting statements. So in my opinion, these are the two biggest emerging trends. And if you're interested in those topics, you're welcome to consider us. Thank you.
So there's a question for Jesse. What specific qualities, experiences, or skill sets do you apply in your life as a PhD student? So Jesse, are you there?
Yeah, hi. Yep. I think the skills that I had from before my PhD studies really helped, particularly in terms of being proactive, the time management, and you know, the ability to just network and build relationship with people of different disciplines and faculties. I think that really helped a lot, as previous presentations from other professors are mentioning that you know, this journey is very much depending on the individual proactiveness. So I think my experience in the workplace really helped.
Okay, thank you, Jesse. So there's a question for our alum, Prof. Yi. Did you manage to establish a good network before finishing your program? And did that help you in your job hunt?
Well, thanks for the question. I would say yes. So before finishing my program, I know who should I reach out to if I have some like research ideas and then some potential concerns about, like, for example, how to build a pipeline. It's not only about like network with the faculty members, but also like collaborations within the PhD students. I'm also working with the other like more junior PhD students, and then also some students from the other divisions. So I would say all those like network or collaborations, they're helpful when it comes to the job market, but in the long run, like they're also beneficial to me as a scholar and as a researcher.
Thank you. So there are a couple of questions for strategy, international business and entrepreneurship. So first question is, if I want to apply for SIE PhD program, what advice do you have on the research proposal? Is the statement of purpose a required submission?
So for the research proposal, we are interested to know what kinds of questions you are keen to pursue. We will not hold you accountable to that when you get admitted to the program. We just want to have a glimpse of what types of questions you find interesting that you think you can potentially investigate with the help of the PhD training. So we want to understand more the thought process and the background behind this kind of question. So essentially, we do not require you to come up with an entire proposal. So it is more like, what kinds of questions interest you? Why do you find it interesting? You may be able to hazard some approaches, perhaps. For those that already have research background, then probably you are more advanced in this process, in that you will be able to provide us with some preliminary studies. We do have applications that have that kind of comprehensiveness in their proposal. But again, this is not something that is required. That actually is more of a bonus. We do understand many of you do not have the actual research experience just yet. Yeah.
The next question is, I'm interested to explore entrepreneurship education, experiential pedagogy, case methods of teaching, etc. So with focus on strategy, international business, and entrepreneurship. Do we have any faculty who are currently working in these areas?
All right. So we do not have faculty looking particularly on entrepreneurship, education, and pedagogical approaches. But we do use this as a context to examine certain questions relevant to entrepreneurial motivation or entrepreneurial, outcomes such as venture creation, survival, etc. But essentially looking into the pedagogical approach per se, or the entrepreneurship education, what kinds of case methods are more effective, etc. That is not something that any of our faculty is an expert in. So that's not something that we work on as a research topic, right?
Okay. So there is a question for us in general. So let me just respond to this, and please feel free to add to that any of the panelists here. So the question is, what's the usual interview process like? Are there any tests required in shortlisting your candidates? Well, in general, we do not have any particular tests, but interview, of course, I think I mentioned in my presentation. So we basically try to see how motivated are you as a candidate for entering a PhD program, and also whether there's sufficient interest in research is there, and that the aptitude level is sufficiently sufficient to carry on a rigorous research-oriented training program. So these are what we look for. If you are passionate about research, if you have conducted research prior to applications, those things would help in general. So anyone else who have been involved in interview process for a long time, perhaps would share their views here?
From LMO's point of view, typically what we will do in the interview process, we will look at the research proposal that the applicant is submitting to see which of our faculty is kind of best matching on a topic perspective to the proposal from the student, and then we tend to conduct interview with both me as a coordinator and the faculty as a more substantive expert as part of the interview.
Yeah, I can also say a few words. I've been doing this interview for many years. I totally agree with what Sadat has already said. There is really no test. We're going to first take a look at the material you submitted, and then we are going to decide whether you sound like the individual we are looking for. And if you are, we are going to schedule a video conversation with you through either Zoom or any type of internet technology. And then we're going to just talk to you about your research interest, trying to understand you better, and also try to give you some information to help you decide about us. So that's typically how the interview process is done, at least in the accounting division. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So there's the question for any panel member. So what percentage of graduates choose academic positions versus industry roles? I think we have majority take up academic positions. That's primarily that's what we are trying to do here in the PhD program. We're trying to, or any PhD program for that matter, the primary objective is to develop researchers and scholars who would push the boundaries of knowledge in the various disciplines. Now, this primarily happens in the academia. It doesn't mean that there aren't opportunities outside the academia. So there are government research institutions, there are private sector research institutions that are there. And recently, of course, there's a trend, particularly among the tech firms, large big tech firms. They employ many PhD-trained scholars and researchers. Many of these firms are developing their own research units. So there is a growing trend, but primarily people, upon graduation, people would go for academic positions. Then there's a question for banking and finance. Is there a faculty member in fintech, blockchain, and crypto?
We have we have maybe one person doing some research on that. We have quite a few practice track professors who have a lot of industry experience in that area. So, and then of course we have one of the best computer science schools in the world. And so I think when you put all these things together, I think you could do research in that area here at NTU.
Okay, thank you. There is a question for LMO. Guidance on choosing research topic, research proposal, research resources available to students in neuroscience, psychology, OB domain.
Yeah. I'm going to assume that this question is more about how to choose your topic once you're in the program rather than the research proposal that you're submitting to us. Generally, what we tend to do is we encourage students in the first year to talk to as many faculty as possible in order to get a sense of where you are matching in terms of your research interests and which ones would align with some of our faculties, and then perhaps based on that choose the faculty as a supervisor or mentor. So there's a little bit of a proactiveness from the student that is required. You need to go out and talk to the different faculties, which I think that's what some of the students earlier also mentioned already. In terms of resources available, so beyond the general resources for PhD students, faculty specific, we do have like a neuroscience lab that is run from our division. So that would be, at least in terms of a physical infrastructure, there would be resources available to do that kind of research.
Okay, thank you. So next question is for any panelist. What traits are you most concerned of for ideal candidates? Are those the matching direction, passion for research, or abundant research experience? So I think it's open to any panelist. Prof. Su, would you like to take the question?
Sure. I think, at least from the marketing division's perspective, we care a lot about whether the student can proactively, seek and develop research ideas. The student is curious, they observe and can come up with a testable hypothesis in terms of, consumer behavior or quantitative modeling. So I think their ability to kind of think like a researcher and develop hypotheses is critical. And having prior research experience certainly helps in doing this, but it is not a must. But it is a strong signal if you have had prior research experience. It is a signal to us that, oh, the student can, come up with hypotheses and design experiments or start working on a model and whatnot. So yeah, proactivity and whether the student has a mind for coming up with research questions is key, at least for us.
Anyone else would like to add to that, or can I move to the next question? Okay, so next question is, although it's from marketing, maybe I can answer that question here. So the question, what I saw, suddenly it went away from the screen. It's basically asking whether econ postgraduate degree is helpful for admission. Well, there are two streams, as Prof mentioned during her presentation, two streams in marketing research. One is consumer behavior, and another is quantitative modeling. And quantitative modeling is primarily the training that we provide, or the training that will be helpful is actually economics and statistics. So yes, that helps, but I don't think that doesn't mean that you cannot do consumer behavior research. I think you have to show sufficient interest in that. But quantitative modeling, surely having econ training is quite helpful. So there is another question for any panelist. I'm a research scholar of entrepreneurship. It's a purely research-based course, but most of the research is based on how can we convert one technical solution to venture creation. Is there any similar research topic for PhD? Once again, it's a purely research-based course, but most of the research is based on how we can convert one technical solution to venture creation. So I suppose SIE profiling.
Yeah. Thank you, Sadat. This is not the type of question that we address in terms of entrepreneurship research. So I would encourage whoever asks this question to look into our website to at least get a glimpse of what kinds of questions we answer in entrepreneurship research. So this is more a type of question that is suitable to entrepreneurship training, like how do you convert a technical solution? So this is more on the practice or applied side, right? So this is not something that PhD training in our division would match. So yeah, so in a nutshell, I can go on and on. I'm aware of the time, so I would encourage you, whoever asked this question, to go to our website, look at our types of research, and then if you have further questions, you can email us directly. Thank you.
Okay, so we have one last question. Actually, that was the last question. Is there any other question, Karen?
Prof, in the interest of time, I think we can wrap this up.
Okay.
And if they have any more questions, our contact details are displayed here. They can reach out to us.
Okay. So thank you everybody for joining this session. Really appreciate taking time and taking interest in our PhD program. As we mentioned, as all the panelists have mentioned, that please feel free to reach out to us for any question. I'm sure many of you have many more questions that we couldn't address in this short time. So what you see in the screen is our PhD office email address, and for general in general for a PhD program in NTU, you can use the second email address, and you can most of our email addresses are up on in the web. So if you want to reach out to any particular faculty and for any particular question, please do so. So thank you everybody. Have a good day.
Thank you, and please remember application is open now. And we look forward to receiving your application. Thank you to all the speakers. Have a good day. Bye-bye.